Right, you have a task force, isn't that right?
Yes, we just started a task force. So through the Autism and Communication Center at Cal Lutheran, that was, again, because these are two areas I really care about, making sure that communities of color have access to quality therapy and communication. That we, I want to think of ways of how our center and beyond our center, how can we provide access to like this College Bound Academy that we're offering, workshops and training that will serve marginalized communities and neighborhoods. So I put out kind of like a call and invite, and we have 6 students who type and spell to communicate who make up the task force. And they're the ones driving the conversation. I just ask questions. And we've had our very first meeting almost 2 weeks ago. It was awesome. I need to do a better job of like typing out the notes and like sharing their brilliant ideas. But we talked about, like, they brought up things like, okay, financial resources, of course, and educating parents who are, may not have English as their first language. So there were a lot of different ideas that we thought about. How can we work with schools who are open to this, or with professionals who are open to this, to reach communities and audiences that may not have heard or even can afford, or whatever it may be, afford these sorts of therapies. So I'm excited about it. We're thinking about getting the task force together in person, because it was like all via Zoom. And they range from like teenage to young adults. All Latino or Black students are on this task force. So it's really cool. I could be wrong, but I think that we're the first sort of like committee or task force that's been formed of non-speakers who are also people of color, who are trying to, help drive some policies or practices with our Autism and Research Center, at least through our center. And there may be more out there. I've just not heard of them. But I think that intersection is so important to address as well.
I agree. I definitely agree. Actually, I just bought this book. Have you read this one?
I've heard of it. I haven't read it, but I know I will join your book club to read it with you.
Right. Yeah. When we start reading
an anthology. Is it an anthology with different authors, or?
Let me look. I think so. I think that it has lots of different authors, and then it has different sections of topics, I think. But yeah, lots of different authors. Obviously, it's so big.
Yeah. There's, that's another thing people can think about, is following like Twitter handles or hashtags, I should say. They have like autistic while black, autistic while brown, just so that people can really educate themselves on the sorts of issues that are facing the communities and how we can be supportive in those instances.
Because that intersection does, it has a multiplier effect. I think I talked with Steve Silverman about that. And, we have something going on in Virginia right now where a Black autistic person just got sentenced to jail for 50 years and for an accident. And I don't want to misspeak here, but when the police officer pulled up to him, he was Black first. He was a Black young man in Virginia, which is not a very safe place to be. And then compounded by his limited communication skills and anxiety and other things with being autistic. And it is such a multiplier effect, and it made him so much more vulnerable. So I think that it is important to be aware of those, of that intersection. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. The challenges are sort of layered, right? When you start adding different identities into the mix. So it's something that we should all keep in mind, because, as you know, every autistic is different. And then you add the other pieces of, race, ethnicity, income, all the things that may affect the opportunities that you're, you know, that you have access to, or the way you're treated when you're encountered by a first responder, those kinds of things that we really need to educate the community on.
Angelina says it's so important to talk about this. I knew Louisa would chime in. Megan, Angelina, and I have talked about the serious lack of representation in most well-known organizations that deal with autism or fields that often work with autistics, like speech language I'm like the worst reader. Speech language pathology, etc. Yeah, we do talk about that intersection and the lack of representation a lot. We do talk about that a lot.